right, what I got here is a piece of basswood. I went to the craft store and I just grabbed a couple of blocks quick. I don't have a bandsaw blade for my bandsaw, or I would actually quarter this and make two pieces out of it. So this right here is going to be a quick little knife tutorial. And we're just going to put a little quick beginner face on here with our knife. All right. So grab yourself a basswood block, get a carving glove. And if you have a carving knife and you want to learn a little bit about how to make a face with a knife, we're going to do a little quick wizard or something on here. So we're going to carve right here on the corner. So I'm going to put a little V right here. And we're just going to bring this down just like this. And we'll put a nice little quick face on here. All right. So I'm just going to draw a little V like that. And what we're going to do is we're going to make two cuts with our knife, right? And it doesn't have to be directly on this line. So I'm going to put a stop cut here. And then we're going to take this wood out just like that. So stop cut and a remove cut. All right. You can re-stop cut it. This right here should actually pop right out once you make your little removal cut. We're just going to carve up and get all that out. All right. So we're going to do that on both sides. You can make it as deep as you want. Doesn't have to go too deep. This is kind of a thick piece of wood. So it might take you a little bit. You can put it down. Make your stop cut. And the second cut is just to remove wood from underneath that. Just go all the way up. If you have to re-stop cut it again, that's what you do, right? And that's all we're going to do there. Now I'm going to come from here and take that corner out a little bit. We'll round this off a little bit. And that's going to be your first cut, all right? So wood out from underneath there, wood out from underneath here. And this right here, we can start forming our hat or whatever we want up top there. That's step one. Now, step number two is we're going to need to establish where we want our nose. So I'm going to come down to give myself room about here. All right. We're right on the corner again. I did round that off a little bit. Not much, but enough. And we're going to put a stop cut by pushing our knife in. Keep your thumb on the top. And just put a stop cut there and then cut up to that. Stop and remove. Push down. Remove the chip. Push up. Kind of rolling my knife here. Push in again to remove the chip. Stop and remove. Okay. As long as you have that stop cut in there, you want to make it a little bigger, recut it. Push up to it. Push back down and remove. Okay, keep your fingers out of the way. And that'll start establishing that nose. See that? So we only did two steps here so far. Stop cut here, remove wood up. Stop and remove. I did round this off by pushing this up. And again, I'll just remove it at the top. We'll start establishing our nose. Now, once we get this deep enough, I'm going to do that a couple times, get the depth I want, and then we'll go to step three. Okay, step number three, I'm going to come up here and put a line right there because I want to have room for some eyes, all right? And then we'll push that up later. So just draw a little line across like that. We'll take our knife again, put our thumb on top of the blade, and we'll push in. Bury it in pretty good, all right? And let's just push some of that wood up there. And we'll kind of angle this nose back a little bit. Okay. So now we have the nose starting to go back and angle back. Starting to angle back, and we're starting a brow line here. I'm going to run this across a little bit longer. Okay. By putting a stop cut in there. And we'll kind of round that over and up into there. By stopping, oops, and removing. Make sure we have a nice clean stop cut. All right. And that's going to be step three. Now we'll start establishing our nose. We'll cut the sides in next. And that'll be step three. Step number 4, let's draw this down. We'll take it down about here. We'll come over here, keep it a little thinner at the top and come down. Something like that. Sometimes I make it a little thinner even at the top. You kind of want this to triangle down. But basically we're going to do the sides of the nose. We're going to cut them out by digging our knife in here, running it down, and kind of angling it out. All right. You want to angle it out. Come up to here, push it in, and go across again pretty deep here. Now we can remove that side by pushing up to our stop cut. Okay, just like that. Stop and remove. Trying to get that nose to stand out a little bit. All right, this is a pretty thick block. This is easier on a smaller one, but that right there is going to make the nose stand out. We're going to do the same on this side. Kind of angle it outward, all right, by dragging your knife down. Make your stop cut a couple times if you have to. And now we're going to have to turn the block upside down, but before you do, make sure you have a good stop cut here in the corner, because we're going to cut up to that to remove that piece. Flip it over and take that out. Just bring it right up to the top. Like I said, make sure you use that stop cut at the top, because once that your knife hits up there, it'll all disappear. Okay, now the nose is starting to form. All right, we have it out. We can clean that up by shaving it. Just shave that over. Clean it up on this side. We'll kind of blend that in. We're going to round everything over. So take your time. And we're just using our detail knife here. Okay? And now we're starting to form our nose. Okay? There we go. Let's go to the next step. Okay, now what I like to do once I get to this point is kind of, is this marker going to work? Just kind of shape up the nose a little bit. So we're going to pretty much do just a little angle cut like this. I'm going to push down right to that corner there. Come over here. Push my knife in there, and we're going to remove that chip. Okay, just like that. All right, and that starts kind of shaping the nose up at the angle that we're going to want. All right, same over here. Push down. Connect your line right there where that cut is. Dig in the corner there. And we're just going to take from here to here that little chip out. Okay, and we rounded off the nose there. And we could shape up the nose with just some smaller cuts. Just kind of round it over. Clean it up to the top. I'm just going to go around and shape the nose a little bit better. Definitely wear a glove if you, especially if you have no knife experience, all right? Because once this stuff, that knife slips, and you get yourself, you're not going to like that. So that's all I'm doing is rounding everything off and making the nose just a little bit rounder and a little bit nicer, all right? And any chips that you have, you know, get them out of there. Up in here, we're going to push all that back in a little bit. But let's draw our mustache on. And this can be any kind of mustache you want. I might just bring mine down over like this. We'll make this a nice big mustache for this tutorial. So I want you to just kind of draw it on any way you like. We'll go with something like this. Like that. And all we're going to do is we're going to take our knife and we're going to outline this whole mustache with a stop cut. Okay, so take your time here, dig it in. Like that. I have this on the table so I can dig a little bit better. All right, up to here. I'm just going to outline that whole mustache with a stop cut. Okay, right to here. Come up to here, dig it in the corner. And try to keep your line. It ain't going to matter if you don't do it perfect. Okay, so we outlined the whole mustache here. And then we're just going to come to the outside of that line. Just take your time, all right, and remove all around that mustache, that stop cut that we just did, all right, up to that cut. Nice and easy, nice and slow, all right, and take some wood out. And if you have to redo that cut a little bit to clean it up, that's fine, all right. Just go slow. You don't need to be in a hurry, all right. And take that wood out from underneath. Now you can keep repeating this process till you get that mustache to stand out as much as you want, okay? But for now, we're only going around the outside, okay? Just like that. Okay, and that's going to start establishing that mustache and making it stick out. Now you're going to have to take wood out here under the lip. Let's round this off. Push up into your stop cut. And this is just a basic way you can do a face. It's a quick, easy way to start learning with your knife. And it's fun to just sit here and whittle sometimes and not have to breathe any dust, as far as if you've been using a Dremel and you want to play with hand tools a little bit. I'm going to deepen this a little bit more. Whoops. And if you mess up your line, don't worry. Just keep taking wood off to get the effect that you're looking for. All right. So that right there is going to be the next step. We're going to go around and dig that out as much as we want. And we'll go to the next step. So he's starting to shape up. He's starting to get a mustache. You can draw any kind of mustache you want. All right. And you can always go back up here and take more wood out too. All right. So a little at a time, we're building our face. Okay. Okay. Let's go to the next step. Okay. So once we have this established and we took out all of our wood around the mustache and underneath, okay, I just shaved up here, you know, made sure I had some wood out underneath here. I'm going to round this corner off a little bit more. I'm going to flip it over. I'm going to take some of this wood down here with my rough out knife. You can still use your detail knife for this too. It's just a little bit longer blade, and it's going to help me get a little bit more wood off. This is a pretty thick block, so I opted for the longer blade, but I haven't changed anything yet. I want this mustache to stand out a little. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to come in the side here. I'm going to dig my knife in. I'm going to cut up just like that. Okay. And we're going to do that on both sides. And we're going to make sure that there's some room under here so we can start getting that mustache to stand out, and then we'll form our little beard or whatever. So same on this side right here. I'm going to press in. All right. I'm just going to shave up to that. Just like that. And that way it'll start standing that mustache out from the sides a little bit. Okay. From underneath. I'm going to do the same on the top. All right. Right here. We're going to try and keep this mustache. So it goes slow here. All right. And just take a chip out. Come down to the mustache. Push in and remove. See that? Same on this side. See where the mustache stops here? Go right to the top of your line there. Press in. Come down from the top. Press in. Remove. Now our mustache is standing out. Okay? From the sides of the carving there. All right? And then we can shape all that and just kind of shave down. And do the same on this side. Just take your time. Just like that. Okay. Now we could start forming a hat and everything up here. We're going to shape the beard on the bottom here. I'm going to flip it over. And we're going to start taking some of this wood. just like this, down, get these corners off, and we'll start shaping this forward a little bit. Down at the bottom, kind of go around at a downward slant, and we'll start pushing that wood underneath a little bit towards the back, just like that. Kind of round that down and under. You can do that all the way around too, by the way, all right? But you see how it starts rounding that beard off, all right? So this right here is a nice, easy way to start forming kind of like a rounded, even a Santa beard. We're doing Santas, all right? If you were making, say, a Santa ornament, we could do that all the way around and round that beard off. All right, so now we're starting to shape it up. If it's not sticking out enough, I'll take more wood off here. Okay. And keep repeating that process because I want that mustache to stand out past, at least on this little guy, you know, where my beard is going to be. All right, so you can just repeat that process and go around and make it however you like. All right, so now we have a nice little beard, a little face started, whoops, and we'll come up here and start working on giving him a little type of hat. All right, let's work up here a little bit for a minute. We got the mustache cut out and we started shaping our beard a little bit. You can just do this by, again, you know, just taking some of this wood off down at the bottom here and go all the way around it, all right? And the more you do that, the more you start rounding off his beard, all right? You got to go all the way around by pulling down, okay? But what we're going to do is come up here and we're going to try to start taking some of these corners off, okay? Like that, and we'll start sweeping his hat on both sides here. Get those corners off and see what we want to do with that. See just how taking them corners off start shaping, all right? So a little bit at a time, we're going to come around and try to get these corners knocked off, and we'll work our way around and start taking that hat down a little bit, okay? Especially when we get towards the top. Now, it depends on what kind of hat you want to give him, but we'll try and keep it simple so we can end up with just kind of like a little wizard type guy. Let's take this corner down here, push that up, and just keep working it. Flipping chips, little as we go. Thumb against the knife right here, and just kind of roll, okay? Just rocking the knife. And we'll start slowly taking that down until we get what we're looking for at the top. Right now, just trying to get some wood off to get that rounded. And we'll probably take a piece out of the side so we can get a little sweep going, okay? Take this down here. Work your way to the side. Same on this side. And work your way over here. And keep going down till you get those sharp corners off. Okay. There you go there. Let's take this corner again. Because you want this, since he's, you know, all the way around, we don't want him just really flat or anything in the back. So we want to blend all that together and round it. Okay, now we're starting to get it. Up here, we're definitely going to have to take this wood off a little bit more because we're definitely going to want that thinner so we can shape a point at the top of the hat here. So we're going to go around and do that pairing cut right here. Okay. And we'll get that to come down and make it more manageable. Okay, so I'm going to go around the top, do that. On the side here, we'll start taking a chunk out over here. Going to dig our knife in. Push up. Dig in. And we'll establish a little dent in the side where we can start changing the shape of the hat. Okay, see that? And we could do the same on this side and just go all the way up and do a hat that way. Let's sit here and think about it for a minute, what type of hat we want to put on them. And we'll carry on from there. All right, I think I'm going to go around here a little bit more, and we'll take more of that out. I'm probably going to have to come in the back a little bit. All right, to make sure I can get the look I'm looking for, I have to go around. So I'm going to have to take this corner down a little bit. So it'll be easier to establish what we're going for with the hat here. Eventually, there won't be any corners on this guy at all. All this will be gone, okay? Just going to round all that off. So I'm going to take that down in the back here so it's easier to come around the back. Because we want this to definitely show the separation that we have. So I'm going to go all the way around with that and make sure that I get a pretty good chunk out of there, all right? Because then we could sweep this up. I mean, you could actually take this hat, kind of, see if I can show you with this marker. I don't know where my good marker is here. But we could basically just take this wood out here and have a hat like this. Okay? And just have just a simple type of wizard hat and take all this out over here and all this out over here. And you pretty much have your makings of your hat, right? So we're going to work around it. And just keep taking wood down all the way around until we can get that thin enough that it is manageable, especially on this big piece here. It's kind of thick, like I said. I mean, this would be easier to do if I would have cut this in half, but that's okay. I like flipping chips. We'll come over here on this side and do the same thing. Take it down and start working it back. And it gives you something to do in the afternoon when you got nothing to do. And we'll shape that up this way. And underneath, we'll keep taking this, working our way around. And then we'll do the same shape on this side. This will actually come up, okay, like this in the back. Okay, so we're just working our way around and up. And flipping them chips. And the skinnier you get it, the easier it starts coming off, okay? See how that's starting to shape now? Now we can do the same thing over here. We can do a little wood removal here to give them another divot if we would want right here or whatever. And just go right up the side of the hat too, you know, and take a chunk out here to make his hat a little bit more wiggly. All right, but for now, we're just going to keep slowly taking that down all the way around. So we can get it a little bit thinner so we can shape that hat. And we're going to round this over. And we got ourselves a nice simple wizard hat. Okay. So let's do that. We'll move to seeing what else we want to do with this guy. Okay, now I'm just going around and I'm shaping this, taking more and more wood down like this, all right? Trying to get it thinner and thinner. So when I get finished and I turn it around, right, it's going to be a lot thinner at the top. So it's more manageable, like right in here, it's still pretty thick, all right? So we're just going to keep taking this down until we can actually get it to come to a point almost. Not even really a point, but a lot thinner. It's a little too thick yet, but you can see how it's starting to shape. You do have to work all the way around as you're removing this, okay? Just keep going around, keep rounding it over, and work around, all right, the whole carving. And then the more you start taking wood off, the more manageable it will get. Now this line right here, what we're going to do is put a stop cut right here. Doesn't have to be on that line, all right? And we're going to start making a little bit of a separation there. so we can push that wood up into it, and we'll start getting a nice little shadow for his hat right there. And we can take more of this wood out here and round off right here, and again go around, push up to your stop cut, and try to get all that to round over and blend up and into that stop cut. All right, and you can always re-stop cut. Like I said, this right here we can just push down with a couple of downward cuts, and we'll get some shadow. And again, once we get over to here, we're going to actually do the same thing in the back to make that hat stand out more. Like right here, we could take a stop cut, run it right down like this, okay, just like that. Flip it over and cut up to your stop cut and take that wood out. And that's going to start finishing off that sweep for that hat, okay. And then it'll start getting a lot more manageable. Stop cut here again. And we'll take that out. Okay. Now you're going to have to manipulate your wood, especially basswood. The grain changes a lot in basswood. So if you're not cutting and it stops cutting one way, flip it over and make your cut that in the opposite direction, and it'll start cutting for you again. Okay, let's round this off right here. Right there, see it stopped cutting, so I'll start cutting the other direction and come right up into this stop cut up here, and make sure we remove a little bit more of that. Okay, just nice and relaxing. Sit and flip your chips, play with it, and shape it slowly as you go. No need to rush. I mean, you can bang out wizards like this. If this, say we're going to make a little wizard, these things really take 5 minutes, especially if you're using a little bit thinner block, but they're fun to make. You can make all kinds of different characters and faces with them. And you see how we're starting to shape a whole face with just our knife. Okay? So now we start honing our hat a little bit any way we want. Maybe I'll take a little wood off here, give them a little bit more of a shape. And again, if I take it off here, I'll do it all the way around, okay, with the same cut. Just a little rolling cut here. And then when I look at it, I'll see, okay, I might want to take a little more right here until I get the shape that I want. Okay. And I'll go all the way up to the top and blend that in all the way around by turning the piece in my hand a little at a time to try and make everything blend together and make it a little more symmetrical. All right, so a little at a time. We're getting up to the point at the top that we want. We have a swoop coming down here. If I want more wood out here, I can do it. And we're starting to get a nice little wizard. Clean up any spots that you want. Take more wood out from under the mustache if you want. Take these mustache lines off. Or the marker lines, I mean. Okay. That's just a simple shave. We'll round all this over. Now you can put beard hair and everything in with your knife. Once you're comfortable enough with it, you can actually do all your detail with a knife also. Okay, I'm just taking the mustache lines off, the marker lines, and rounding everything over here. And if it's not sticking out enough after that, I'll just recut underneath the mustache and even around at the top to start getting my face to stand out a little bit more again. Okay, now I didn't even do too much with this nose. He's just kind of sticking out. We could fancy that up with a little bit of stuff if we want, but we're trying to keep this very simple, very beginner friendly. Okay, and seeing if we can come up with a cute little wizard. that anybody should be able to do. And again, these you can do in like 5 minutes, especially with a small piece. Just take the wood out wherever you want and shape your beard how you want. I do want the hat to stand out a little more. So again, we're going right back. Now that this is starting to thin down for us, it'll be easier to come over here, put a little stop cut, and make that hat stand out, okay? Just a little bit more. And get some shadow under there with 1 or 2 cuts. See that? Now we're going to do the same over here. We're going to separate it from the cheek. So I'm going to put a stop cut there. And we'll take just a little bit out from underneath there. And we'll make his hat stand out on both sides. I don't know if you guys can see that shadow or not, but it's definitely separated here and separated there. Okay? Good. Let's give him some hair. Now you can use your marker for this if you like. All right. So let me see if I can grab a marker here. Let's maybe come over here and let's give him a little line right here and do something like that. Then we'll come over here and we'll bring this down like this. All right. Now this right here is going to be hair. Simple and easy. We're going to take our knife. We're going to run a stop cut down and right off the wood like that, okay? Come underneath, take a little bit of a chunk out there, very little, all right? Turn it around and remove with your removal cut, okay, that wood. If it doesn't work, just recut. And that should pop right out. Okay. Like so. And what we want to do is take this wood on the inside down enough that that tuft of hair sticks out. Okay. There you go. And if you want to stick out more on the bottom, just with a little bit of a rolling cut like this. Take some out. And again, carve around to the back so you get a little shadow there. All right. Now, if it's not enough shadow, definitely recut and just repeat by taking wood out. You're definitely going to want to separate the temple right here from that piece of hair. Okay. So I'm putting a little V cut there and making sure that it's separate from the face. Okay. And we'll clean up the hat up here. We'll just clean it up a little bit. Kind of hard to hold at the angle for the camera. If I want more shadow, like I said, I would just repeat the process. The grain's changing here a little bit because I'm trying to keep it in the camera. I'm going to have to turn it upside down. That's all. So we're cutting a piece of hair in on this side. Try to go straight in there and you'll get more shadow. The angle is a little bit funky for me because I'm filming. And then just tuck this bottom cut underneath that and it'll stand out for you. Over in here. And we can even clean that up with the wood burner. Let's do this side. We're going to do a stop cut all the way up, right up to the hat. And where this right here is, dig your knife in and definitely make sure you separate a good little chunk up there at the top with that V cut right there. And that'll separate the hair from the face, okay? And then just run your stop cut up, or your removal cut, I mean. You probably see it better on this side than the other. There you go. Okay. So now we have hair on this side. We'll make sure that this stands out a little bit more by taking the side of the face down. I do like the sides of the face right here to be, especially where the eye would come over right here, I would make a small divot. And that shrinks this part of the face up here smaller. And then it kind of diamonds down. It's wider at the bottom. And that will give him a more, a better look as far as a face goes, it won't just be a fat face that's all one dimension all the way down. Okay, so now we have 2 tufts of hair, 1 on each side. Okay, and that's how you'd give him hair. And if your hair isn't sticking out, come underneath over here, like I said, and take some wood out from underneath his hat. You want that separated. Okay, and the same on this side, so you get some shadow underneath. And again, underneath the hair here. Make sure it sticks out there. If it's not sticking out here, make a little stop cut. Just watch your mustache there. And clean that up till you can get it to stick out on that side. So here we have a nice little wizard. We're not really doing too much detailing or anything on it, but it's a quick way to practice the dimensions of how to get a nice little face with just your knife, right? Now we can keep playing with it. We'll separate his eyebrows and everything, but if you want a quick way to play with your knife and learn how to do wood spirits or Santa ornaments or whatever you're doing, those are pretty much the basics and how to get to this point. All right, we could play with them a little bit more now, but I wanted it to be real fast and easy that anybody could learn, and I'm hoping that that right there will clear up some questions for anybody. I know that Jordy just got a knife from Rob for Christmas, so kind of doing this for you there, Jordy, so you can practice with it and start making some wood spirits, because these are pretty much the basic techniques with a knife if you want to start even doing those. So let me know if it helped you out, if you have any questions, and we'll go through more techniques on how to clean this guy up in maybe the next video. Right now I'm just going around and shaping him a little bit more. And when you get some gouges and hand tools out, you can start doing beard hair and everything with this guy, but we might just keep it a knife tutorial and do it like that also. Up here, what I'd like to do, boy, it's windy out today. I'm just going to make a V cut here. Okay, just like that. We're going to take that out. Now he's formed some eyebrows. Okay. If I want his mustache to stick out over here a little bit more, like I said, what I would do is go around it, make another stop cut. Okay, and then cut down and go right around and take that out. Get a little more shadow in cheek here. Same with this, put it down so I could get a good stop cut and take a little bit more wood out there. All right, now we're starting to form cheeks. And a lot of times what I'd like to do is run a stop cut here also, kind of like that. And I'd frame the face right in there, like that. Come over here, take that chip out for our removal cut. Okay. Oops, my knife hit that. Clean that quick. Am I in the camera here? Okay. Trying to make sure I'm still in the camera, so. But we want to remove some wood there, and the same here from this stop cut we just did. We'll take that piece out there. And now we have his face framed in also. Okay, and we can clean that up as we go with our other tools. And then when we paint, if we would paint this guy, say, you would definitely see the separation over here. Let's take this up a little, like that. So we'll have hair where the beard can actually form and start here, okay, and here. And that would be where his beard actually, his beard here connects to his face up here. Okay? Just a little bit on this side, we got some funky. Let me clean this up for a minute. Definitely hard holding it in your hand to film without pulling it close to your body. I really like this stuff on my lap. So some of my cuts aren't going to be as clean as they would be normally because I'm filming, but hopefully you guys can see that and all the separations we're putting in. Okay. And again, up in here, I would cut down. I'd make another stop cut here, right across the top, and I would push these eyebrows and the top of his forehead back and really get some shadow underneath that hat here. So you can dig that in as far as you want. And the more you actually dig in and push that back, the more shadow you'll get there at the top. Okay, which always makes your carving look a little bit better also. Okay. Still using these Beavercraft knives. This one, I think I actually broke the point on it, so it's not really the best. I'm not really getting good cuts, but it's okay. And again, this is basswood. Yeah, like this side here is just really giving me a hassle with the fuzz. But that's what Dremels are for, and diamond bits and ruby carvers. That'll clean right up, so I'm not worried about that. And I'm just trying to keep my separations here. All right. Basically, most of the video purposes, most of the video, the purpose was to show you how quick you could actually make a face with a knife. And we didn't even do it fast. We just went through the basic steps. And I'm just talking and cleaning up now. All right. So what I would do is keep working on this until I ended up with whatever particular character I wanted. And I'd put beard hair in and everything else. Now, if you want a better mustache, or you could just insinuate a mouth, all right? If you want a better expression, I mean, not better mustache. You can insinuate a mouth by making a nice deep cut under that mustache also. Just like that. And you don't even need to put a lip on this guy if you don't want to. I'd probably take a little more wood out from underneath here. And like I said, really, this would be like a 5-minute wizard, but it depends on how much you want to actually play with it. I tend to take everything a little bit longer than that, especially if I'm making a YouTube video, but that's pretty much how you'd make one. And then you can put whatever kind of eyes you want in it. If I want these eyes to look more interesting, I would carve them deeper. All right. And I would separate where the nose and the eye is right there. And I would take a nice little corner out there. All right. And just put a little divot and clean that up. Boy, this knife is really giving me a hassle. But I just make the slots up here for the eyes deeper, like that. Hold on, see if I can get that clean. Something like that, okay. And I'd probably take the Dremel out and clean this up with a ruby carver. All right, so just make those a little bit deeper. And you have a nice little face that you don't really have to put eyes or anything on. Right here, the grain changes, and I can't get in there because it's still a little thick with my knife. And that's when I get my ruby carvers out and clean it up. Okay. So yeah, he looks a little bit jacked up right now because it needs to be cleaned up, but I get my Dremel out and play with it, especially when I'm out of the camera and I can put it on my lap, and we'll clean them up nice, and we got ourselves a nice little wizard, which really doesn't take much. Should have given you all the basics you need to come up with just a nice little face. And if you did want to put a lip on it, of course, you could actually just make a stop cut, take some wood out, okay, and you start forming yourself a lip on your wizard. All right, basic stop cut, removal cut, okay, will actually make you start forming lines for hair also, okay, if you wanted to use your knife to do that too. Okay, so that right there is another thing you can do with your knife. You would have to go around, you would have to clean it up, of course, but you can do all your detail, all right, using your knife and detail this whole thing out. All right, so I'm going to go around, clean it up, play with them more. All right, so I added a little bit of beard hair on him. All right, just running through the knife, gave him some detail lines on his face. Okay, now you can always take your V tool and run it through these lines, his mustache lines. I actually got my little V tool and reinforced those, but I did do them with the knife, but like I said, the tip on this little Beavercraft knife that I'm using is busted off, so I'm going to clean them up. And you can use your Dremel for this, or 220 sandpaper. Diamond bits work really well, ruby bits. And you can clean up any fuzzies or whatever you want. And wood burning also helps. And you can paint them up and you got a nice little quick wizard. These are a lot faster to make than I did in the video. And I hope you got some tips out of this. And hopefully you'll pick up a knife more often and play with it and see what you can come up with, guys. Okay. Hope you enjoyed this video, and I will see everyone in the next one. Bye-bye now.